Look at that fish!
What is up? Welcome to the Smalley Talk podcast. This is your boy Josh Thunder Rod Shrinko. Got my brother Christian Vaughn on the other line. What's up?
I like that, dude. You almost broke into a Jamaican accent, and I think you should be commended for that personally.
I went Asian this time, dude. How was it?
Oh.
Was it? Did it? Was
Is
it?
that what that
turned-
was?
Yes, it was
I
Asia.
think the Asians should only be offended by that because of how bad it was.
It was
like
Asian
Danny.
Irish, dude. Asian Irish.
Your brother is the worst, man. Anytime like I get Danny to do any sort of impression, it always comes out Irish. It doesn't matter who it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've told you before, dude. I have one impression that I do. I can't do anything else, but the one I do
Gollum.
is pretty Gollum, dude. Straight
I
up.
think you've done it on the podcast before.
Probably.
I never quite know how to react when a grown man does Gollum.
Dude, I just got done watching all 3 Lord of the Rings with Hattie. Dude, I forgot how good those were.
They're actually not terrible. Yeah. Tolkien was the man.
Very good.
Tolkien was the man.
Dude,
there's no doubt.
It was a great trilogy.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude,
I watched there's a video the other day I watched. It was it was like the orcs, but it was like orcs just with normal voices, and they're just talking like normal. Like I smell human meat. No, man flesh. Or what did he say? Like it's very, very funny. The internet for a solid win there.
Yeah, dude. Freaking the memes. This is the golden days of memes, dude. There's just memes. Any like subject, any like little niche you're in, there's just memes for days. So
it's unbelievable the stuff that people like just sit around and think of. Like it's so crazy, so creative. It's I mean, honestly, like if you think about it, like throughout all of human history, all of this like advanced intelligence and like motivation was directed towards solving like major world problems. Like, man, I am like literally freezing my balls off inside of my own house. I'm gonna figure out a way to like, not freeze in my own house. I'm gonna figure out a way so that my food doesn't spoil after like 5 days. I'm gonna figure out like all these major problems have been solved now, and people now are just like, I don't know, dude. I got to figure out a way to make orcs have normal human voices so that it's funny. It's wild, but that's what it is, dude. We're fine. Our brains are finely tuned instruments of problem solving that have just evolved over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, and we've reached the point now where they're like,
just making memes, dude.
We're memeing.
Well, we're memeing. We're the meme.
Dude, I'm not mad about it. It's pretty sick, and people are like, "Oh, I can't even imagine bringing a child into this world." It's like, what? Are you kidding? This is the best time in human history. This is the best time. It's never been better. It's crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of best times, dude. I will say it's not the best time for smallmouth fishing in Indiana. It's been pretty rough. Our rivers are, and if you're tuning in, you aren't a regular listener. We're based out of central Indiana, which is, it's the mecca of river smallmouth fishing.
That's what it's commonly known as.
Yeah, it's literally like the only place we can catch smallmouth are in rivers. And the last, I would say, 3 years, our rivers are, dude, by like the mid-July, dude, they're just dry as a bone. Like you could almost, like half the rivers we fish, dude, there's like, you could walk across half of them without even getting your feet wet. Like that's how like dry they are. So pretty crazy. But we we have a very packed schedule. So we haven't. This is what Chris and I went fishing last weekend. We'll talk about that a little bit, but we not much to talk about. We'll talk about.
we'll just sort of
yeah.
mention that we did. How about that?
Yeah. We had a meeting of the minds, and we sort of like said, hey, we need to start, taking the podcast a little more seriously. So we're committing to doing scheduled shows rather than just like whenever our dicks feel like it. We're gonna actually like schedule them in advance. So we're gonna try to do 2 a month, and one of them, we'll do live. So this is the one we're doing. This is our OG episode, and then the other episode in the month we'll bring on interesting guests. And yeah, so we do have 2 guests tonight though, but they're sort of like gonna be pop-ins, gonna be like kind of smallmouth in the news guys. We have 2, I would call it iconic catches. Possibly one's a state record. Other one is a river record. So 8:30 and 8:40, we're gonna have 2 guys stopping by to do a little chit chat. So what'd you think about that, dude? Yeah, what'd you
I
think?
mean, I just read an article about one of them, potentially a new New York record. It's crazy. I mean, I think that record just got broke last year, didn't it?
I saw 2022, but yeah,
maybe that's right. Yeah, but either way, I mean,
pretty recent,
pretty awesome. I was trying to recall like how many state record holders we've had on the podcast. I would say we definitely have had the Indiana guy. And
Spencer, I think
Spencer.
I don't.
Yeah,
he's got like
world
not
records.
the state record, but yeah, he's got like line class records.
Yeah,
this guy's gonna be.
I thought Joey said he had a state record as well, a state record catch and release. Smallmouth.
I want to say it's a category of state record. He's not the Idaho state record holder, but I think he does have some form of state record. Yeah, I mean that's so between Joey, but this guy Dante, and then Kobe, we have 3 9+ smallmouth catches joining the pod, which is pretty crazy.
It's rarefied air. It's like having Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the podcast. So I'll let them arm wrestle over who each one of them would represent. So
and then Joe's fish, which we'll get into. Joe's actually going to come on the podcast. He's scheduled to come on October 8th at our next recording, and we're going to do a full episode with Joe because Joe's been a kind of a guy in the river smallmouth community that been a staple, and we want to get him on here to kind of share some of his knowledge. But he caught his personal best last weekend during a tournament. Both of these fish caught during a tournament, mind you. During a tournament, both of these things easily surpassed the 23-inch mark. But yeah, Joe's was 7, I think on the tournament scale, 7.3, 23.5-inch, Susquehanna smallmouth, which is the heaviest smallmouth that anybody's recorded on that river. So it's pretty nuts.
BFE, dude, big fish energy coming in.
We got some definite big fish energy going on. Sure. We need something to make up for our lack of big fish energy.
We were talking. Sure. Yeah, we do. We were talking earlier about beer reviews. So we haven't gotten beers in a while, but we're opening it up. So
yeah, we're opening up the beer review.
Seltzer waters, you guys
or seltzers,
bourbon, seltzer reviews, bourbon,
wine. Will we do wine reviews?
Oh hell yeah!
You can do wine reviews?
Yeah, of course. It's not going to be good, but I'll do it. Yeah, I mean the review's not going to be good. It's going to be a lot of me like doing fake stuff to pretend like I know what I'm doing. I drink wine. Yeah.
Do you make the wine go circular in the glass and then you sniff it?
Oh, the mouth feel is so right.
Yeah, dude. I feel like the beer the beer reviews we did were pretty fun because we rated them. If you haven't listened that far back, it's been a while, but we rated them based on a smallmouth scale. So by the inch. So like the top would be like a 23-inch smallmouth. And then, crappy ones would be like, 12 inches, 10 inches. I'll rate this one. This is my personal favorite summer beer, Bell's
Okay,
Oberon. It's a solid 20, dude. That's a 20 all day.
there you go.
So
I'm gonna rate my seltzer water as a very, 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 very solid 19 and a half here. Oh, Topo, dude. Topo hits
to-
hard.
Topo's no joke. That's my favorite, like just any sort of all drink categories, the Topo Chico with lime in the glass
Mm.
bottle.
Oh, yeah.
All three of those combined, dude, it's like I get a pack of those in my house, and like if the girls touch them, dude, I freaking like get your hands off that.
Get
Like they're
your
not
ass
allowed to
out.
drink.
Dude, my son's been busting on me, dude. He's like getting to that age where he's like starting to he like kind of figured out that like guys sort of like just like bust on each other. I was like the other
Like
day,
you talking about like nut slaps, dude? Is he nut
no,
slapping you? Do
no,
a little dick slap? Is your son
no.
just walking by, just slapping your dick?
That would be a bad day. That would suck. That'd be a terrible day. Yeah, no, like I'll be like the other day I walked inside and he was drinking a soda. I was like, "What are you drinking a soda for?" He's like, "I don't know. Why do you drink 10 seltzer waters a night?" I was like, "What? Where did that come from, dude?"
Snap
Easy.
back, dude. Straight off the Chris Vaughn tree, dude.
Yeah, it's like,
That guy's
where
gonna
did
be a master zinger, dude.
I
He's
know
gonna be a master
it
zinger.
zinged me super hard. I was like, "Oh, I guess I drink a lot of seltzer waters. I don't know. They're healthy." But
Yeah, my girls are getting to the point where they're starting to get a little smart aleck. They just make fun of me, honestly. They don't really zing me. They just like straight up make fun of me. I swear to God, so we go to the lake because I
oh yeah.
had to
Let's
resort to lake fishing. I'm not going to
tell the
talk
boys.
about the
Tell
fishing.
the
Like,
boys, give the boys a lowdown
uh,
of lake fish.
yeah. I caught like 10 largemouth. Whoop de doo. So, anyways, it was my wife's birthday. She wanted to go out on the lake, so we took the boat out, and I was like, hey, there's no rivers in play right now because it's so low. I was like, just let's go to a lake. So, anyways,
Sorry,
we fish
babe.
all.
Sorry, babe. No smallmouth fishing for your birthday.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to go largemouth. She was
yeah,
devastated.
yeah.
100%.
Basically, well, on this particular lake, there's a restaurant on the lake that you can pull your boat up to and eat at, and it's like an Amish style restaurant. Whatever, no problem. I had a sun shirt on. It was like my motor blew a fuse, by the way. It was like in the middle of the lake. It blew a fuse. I had to troubleshoot it on the lake. So I had grease on my sun shirt and I had a t-shirt with me. So I was like, oh, I'll just change. So I'm like on the boat and I like pull my shirt off, and I'm like, whatever, like changing shirts. And all of a sudden I hear Hattie she goes, Dad has man boobs. I'm like,
What the
thanks,
fuck?
Hattie. I was like, thank
Oh,
you.
dude.
I looked at
That's
her and I was like, I appreciate
brutal.
that, Hattie.
Oh my God.
So
Swim back to shore.
I know I
That's
should just chucked
brutal.
her in, dude. Should have chucked her in the lake, but
That's uncalled
yeah,
for.
there's an unbridled like make fun of dad atmosphere in
Yeah.
our household. So
That's
that's
fine. I
just how
mean,
it goes.
it's fine, dude. They're
Yeah.
out of the will, but it's fine. It's I hope you enjoy working your whole damn life because you're not getting shit from me when I die. How about that?
Yeah, no joke. Definitely no college tuition, that's for sure.
No, of course
Dad's
not.
gonna empty that college savings account, dude. Just
Here's
take the
what you do.
penalty.
Yeah, of
Take
course.
the penalty, put it right in my savings.
Here's what you do. You tell them throughout all of high school, I got you. Any school you get into, wherever you want to go. And then on their graduation day, say, okay, I emptied your 529 and I took it to the casino. I doubled up. And
Put it
now
on
we're
red,
paying our house
baby.
off. And now we're paying our house off. Sorry. Good luck.
Yeah, no joke. So lately, fishing wise, I know I did a podcast on the tournaments in Wisconsin. I'm not going to talk about that too much, all other than that was probably the last like real like I felt like I was like, oh yeah, I have a chance to catch 20. Um, have you Didn't you go out? Have you gone out since me and you went waiting last weekend or weekend before
No,
last?
I haven't.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
So me and you went out. For sure, the highlight of the trip, dude, was running into another wet boy who recognized we were beaming on the river, dude. This guy comes around the corner and he's like, he goes, all I hear like Chris going up, and he's like, "Hey," and he's like, "Are you Chris?" Chris is like,
Mhm.
"Yeah." He's like, "Are you Chris from Smalley Talk?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Josh is back there," and the dude, he was starstruck, dude. He was
Oh
starstruck on
yeah,
the river. He's
for
like,
sure.
"I didn't expect you guys to be on my home river." I'm like, "Yeah,
Starstruck,
yeah."
starstruck slash a little annoyed that somebody else was fishing right in front of him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no true.
that's more
Like,
more
hey,
the
you can go back
reaction.
there. We fished that whole
Yeah,
area
I
back
know.
there the last 3 hours.
I know. I was like, yeah, we didn't really catch much, but good luck. No, it was cool. Yeah, we ran into him, and I can't remember his name right now, but
Um, I actually looked him up. I follow him on Instagram.
no,
It's
nice.
been it's
His
been
name was
week and a half.
Dawson Gentry, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Uh,
Definitely not.
Dilbert Renshaw, I'm pretty sure. But
I'm trying
anyways,
to think.
no, it was cool talking to him. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
He actually had a pretty cool rod. It was like
Yeah,
a
Chris goes, it was cool looking. I will admit that. He's like, dang, that's a
the
cool
grip
looking
on it
rod.
was sick.
Yeah, and he goes, you're like, what kind of rod is that? And he was like, uh,
Yeah,
it's
he
an
like shit on
Ozark
it.
Trail. And you're like, oh.
I didn't do that. No, it was cool. The rod, like the grip on it was really cool. It had like
I
drawings on
did.
it.
Hey, I
So.
thought it was cool. I mean, honestly, dude, it looked like
Well, I
more. I
guarantee
wouldn't
you,
say.
he didn't. We didn't. With our probably a combined total of about I don't know $1,500 worth of fishing gear that morning. I guarantee you, we
Yeah,
didn't do that much better than
yeah.
him.
We caught
So
a lot of fish. I think I caught one that I did catch an 18, and then the rest
oh,
of
that's right,
them,
you did. Forgot about
yeah,
that.
I
Yeah,
caught an 18, and then a lot of small fish. You know,
yeah,
you were throwing a fly rod. It was, I think I did most of my damage on bottom,
yeah,
so that was that was it's hard to do. I think you did start throwing something on bottom,
yeah.
didn't you?
I caught plenty
Or
of
at least like
fish.
a
Just
prairie fly.
a lot of small ones. Just little tiny guys. The water was also really super weird when we were out there. It was like
It was
low,
low
but
and like stained.
yeah,
Yeah,
but not stained like a. It just looked like pond water. It was really bizarre. So.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways,
Definitely weird.
not
Uh,
much to talk about. Probably the biggest highlight fishing wise that I've got since our last podcast was I just built a nice little overhang for my boat. So my boat is.
yeah.
I was honestly like I had left my boat open to like the air for a lot of the summer, which really was not good for it.
That's
So
one way to put it. He left it open to the air.
well, like
Yeah,
I have like a nice cover, but it's kind of a bitch to put on, especially by yourself. So
yeah.
like since like our trip in July, for instance, like where we went up to St. Clair, I had left it uncovered since like July. So about a month
Well,
and a
sun
half to where it's
fading, huh?
yeah, I was getting like sun fading on like the leash and stuff like that. And so anyways, I built myself a nice little carport, like a 12 by 24-foot carport on the side of my pole barn.
I
And
know, dude. I was like, you sent me a picture of that. I was jealous, dude. That's I
it's
wish
pretty
I had
nice.
enough room for that. I don't really have room for the pole barn
Well,
nor the lean-to. So
but
yeah.
you can park your boat inside your garage, which is awesome.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
that's pretty cool.
could, I do, but like in wintertime, I'm gonna actually move it over in my little fencing area and
Are
just
you?
get a nice cover for it. And just like, because wintertime's tough to park outside, like the
Could you buy
car,
like
because
one of those
it's,
like canvas or like tarp
yeah,
like
I could. I've thought about
thing?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may do
I mean,
that. I don't know that and put a cover on it, and yeah, but we'll
yeah.
see. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, my
dude. So
overhang's pretty cool. So,
yeah, I liked it a lot. I like it even more than your pickleball court on the inside of it. So, uh, yeah. So, um, I have a trip planned. Are you got anything coming up? Any fall stuff you're trying to go do?
No, not really. Pretty much staying local. We actually had plans to go do, and still thinking about doing like a redfish trip down to New Orleans, like in late November. So if that goes off, that'd be nice. But in the way of smallmouth fishing, just kind of local stuff, getting ready for the winter program. I think my big effort this fall is kind of getting my boat back in working order. I've had a couple issues come up with it that are self-inflicted that I need to get resolved. So
Same,
um,
dude.
yeah, getting my
Same.
boat in order, getting ready for the winter program. So
My
so when you're what did
my
you say about your
impeller's
fuse?
shot, dude. My
What happened?
impeller's it's just worn down so much
Mm,
it can't like it has too big of a gap around the impeller, and like I'm having trouble. Like if I have any sort of load and like if I'm by myself, it's fine. But if I have
yeah,
like I had full tank of gas, the girls, a cooler, and like it took me a long time to get on a plane on the lake. So I basically am like I just need to get a new. I think I'm gonna get a stainless impeller. I'm gonna get a
yeah.
stainless impeller and then a new sleeve. Um, so yeah, man. And then yeah, I blew a fuse, and I don't know what happened, but like I go to take off, we were getting ready to go to a different part of the lake, and motor's just no power, like none. And I'm like, you know how that is. You're in the middle of the lake, family's on the boat. You're just like
Of course.
stressed out, and you're just like, my God, dude, this never happens. I'm asking the girls, I'm blaming them for everything. I'm like, what did you
Of
guys
course.
do?
Yeah.
What did you guys touch? Did you
Mhm.
push this button? Which I still think that probably happened to some
You
extent,
think
but
some buttons are getting tossed? Is that what you're
I think
thinking?
I think somebody pushed some buttons that they shouldn't have, but it actually blew the fuse for my trim, and it killed the whole, like, ECM to the motor,
Wow.
and I was looking luckily, Yamaha, they put, a spare fuse on each of the, like, there's, like, 4 main fuses on your motor, and in each fuse next to it is a spare, so I was pulling them out one by one, and the trim fuse was burnt, and I took the spare out, flipped it, and immediately it came on. So, um, what I
Nice.
suspect is like somebody either accidentally not thinking about it or whatever was like pushing down on the trim when it was like already down. Like they were like pressing it and it was just like continuing to like try to force that motor down without having any room to go. And I think it must have just burnt the fuse up. So,
Hmm.
um,
Well, mine is my motor cover. Yeah, it's kind of
we covered that one on the podcast.
golly, dude. It's been. I'm actually thinking about mounting that thing up on the wall in here as like a trophy, dude. It's a freaking war trophy.
So
Um,
oh, go ahead.
yeah. So I mean, it's been ordered. So we'll see when it comes in. I need to get that fixed up, and then um, I think I need to get the battery situation figured out on my rig.
The
But
lithiums. Yeah,
mm-hmm, yep.
yeah. We might have
But
a
other than
lithium
that,
sponsorship coming, so, um, we'll see. I was gonna show the boys already showed you, but I got
go
a
for it, dude.
this is this is a dedicated winter rod. I probably will never use this any other time besides winter, but I got a, 7'10" medium light extra fast.
I can't
This
wait
is
to
a
get smacked right in the face with that thing out on the out on the winter program. I can't
it's
wait.
It's a, it's marketed as a hair jig rod, so
Nice.
I was like, "Man, that'll be perfect for what we do in the wintertime where we just, like,
Yeah.
barely crawl stuff on the bottom." I also got a new, another St. Croix that, I think I'm cycling through some rods till I get a good a mag draft rod because the one that X Sprite I bought, I don't like. Too
Really?
too broom too broomstickish. So
Hmm.
yeah, I
Did
got
you
a
sell it or do you just gonna use it for something else?
I still have it. I'm gonna try that with like more like traditional swim baits, like super heavy ones, because I actually was
Mm.
following Necrelli's advice because he has like all swim bait rods, and he's like, oh, get one that's rated for like 2.5 ounces, and the St. Croix one wasn't rated for that because I was gonna get it, and I was like, oh, I'll try this X Bride, and it's just for that mag dress isn't that heavy. It's like an ounce and a quarter, I think, something like that. So
Mm.
it's just too much rod for it. So this one is a little more got a little bit less stiffness to it. So yeah, we'll see what
You're gonna become a big swim bait guy. Next thing, like you're gonna be skateboarding down the Monon Trail to hit spots on the river to like start swim bait fishing. You'll be like,
yeah. Hey
yeah,
man,
it's
I
pretty sick ride in. Pretty sick
I
ride
don't
into
I
the
don't
spot.
I don't I don't mind that, dude. I respect that. I respect the hell out of those dudes, dude.
Yeah.
I saw somebody, not nobody I will name, on Instagram who, to be honest, is one of the biggest crybabies I've ever met in my life in the whole fishing world. And he said that the worst people in the fishing industry were true swim bait guys, and I almost called him out. Almost called him out because I was like,
Talking
if anybody
crybaby?
knew
I
how
think you
big of a
just did.
crybaby, oh, he's the crybaby, dude. And I hope he's listening to this because he'll know who I'm talking about.
Call him out, dude. You
Crybaby.
called out. Hold on. You called out Larry fucking Dahlberg on our podcast.
This
You
is
can call out
a personal.
whoever this is.
This is a personal call out, and I'm not going to start beef that doesn't need to be here. But this dude is a crybaby, so that's
Oh my
the only
God.
way. That's the only way I'm going to put it. So if you can find the
Wow,
comment,
dude.
more power to you. I sent a text to Derek with the screenshot. He knew who I was talking about. So
Okay. All right.
so
Crybaby coming at you, crybaby anonymous. I like it.
yeah, I just love when people talk shit that turn around and just like go, so that's exactly what it is. So
Dude, I'm fall bite is like getting ready to kick off though. So I do have I should say I should revise my earlier comment when you said do I have anything like big planned. I actually do have a mark on the calendar for kind of an experimental trip that I've
yeah.
got on the calendar for end of October. And I'm not
I know
gonna
exactly what you're talking about.
I'm not slipping the DOS on it yet, but it's gonna happen. So we'll see.
I hope I get in on that. Because
Yeah,
I would be
you're always
I'd
welcome,
be
dude.
I'd be interested in it. I'm going to it's October 10th through the 14th. Me and my dad and my brother always take a trip at some point usually later in the year. And yeah, we were debating on where to go. I was looking at river levels, texting some people, calling some people, trying to see. And dude, I can't escape the Susquehanna, dude. It's just like it calls your name, like I was just seeing the ridiculous fish that people were putting up. Numbers. Randy Long had 2 guys on his boat, caught 184 fish in a day. Had a 20 mixed in there, some 19s. So I was like, and they're letting down the inflatable dam the week that I will be there. So I feel like it's kind of destiny. So
We'll see.
we'll see.
I hope
We'll see.
I think it's gonna be spectacular. I mean,
Indiana's leading the 20-inch leaderboard, dude. We got to do something. We gotta. And speaking of, dude, we were talking about this earlier. So Joe's fish, Dante's fish, both came on the same day, and I want to say Joe even said in the same hour.
so weird.
I've seen in the last. Now I don't know if it was that same day, but it was very recent. Like within that weekend, I saw 221s on White River caught. And like I also saw several posts like Ryan Dole said had commented and said that the biggest fish he's ever seen out of the Great Miami came on Saturday, which, come from a guy like him, that is pretty legit.
Yeah.
So, I was like, man, there's something weird going on. I don't know. It was Friday. Wasn't it Friday 13th last Friday?
I don't know.
Or was
I
that
don't
2
keep
weeks
track
ago?
of. I'm not a
No, that was 2
I'm not a
weeks ago.
20-year-old white girl who keeps track of like astrological signs and whatnot. I'm just living my life, dude. I do wonder though if there was like a barometric pressure issue or some sort of like super moon bullshit going on that like I don't know. It does seem like a little bit of a unexplained
We need to look into it.
situation that's
We need
yeah,
to look
yeah,
into
yeah.
it. We need to. I
Right.
wonder if the guys coming on will shed any light onto this.
Mm-mm.
So I wonder if they would. I wonder if they've done the research because Joe pointed out. He did point out. He's like, it was really cool because Joe guides on the St. Lawrence as well. Joe's like,
Yeah.
he was like, hey, this guy caught this fish. I want to say he said it was in the same hour. Maybe he just said same day.
That's so weird.
So maybe he's already looked into it. I'm interested to see what what he has to say about it. So we
Yeah.
should have our guest coming on any second now. So hopefully not having any technical difficulties. But yeah, dude, I'm pumped for the winter program. Like
I am too. I'm kind of getting to that point in the year where I'm starting to look forward a little bit.
we got some rain. We got some
Dude, I've
rain this
had a
weekend.
hellacious summer and early fall at work. So I actually just had my kind of like late fall, early winter, like completely empty out. So yeah, I'm very much
Hell
looking forward
yeah,
to
dude.
getting back out, doing some wet boy things, getting real out there because it's been it's been a little bit scant this year, if we're being honest. Been
I mean
pretty tied up.
the winter thing, regardless of, I mean, I feel like in the wintertime you look forward to summer and spring, and then I will say this, in the springtime I don't look forward to winter. That's like
No, not at all.
yeah. But winter, when you start getting into that kind of summer
Dude,
lull,
spring is the best. Like
spring
I
is
don't even look forward to summer and spring. I just want it to keep going. So yeah.
yeah, pre-spawn, dude, you can't really top it. Like
No.
it's got to be like, I mean, especially there's usually this like point in time where I kind of drive through my neighborhood and like notice that like all the trees are starting to bloom. There's
Mhm.
like color, and you're just like, dude, this is it. And I mean, the thing about spring too that for us is a big difference maker, regardless of how the fishing is. It's when the rivers are fullest here, and
Right.
that makes a huge difference. Like we can run our jets anywhere pretty much. Um, so it's not there's no limitations, and it's like everything's new, everything's bright. Like it's the best time, dude.
So
Best.
when you guys go to the Susquehanna, is your plan to kind of take the kayak with the motor on it, or are you guys going to take the jet boat? What are you guys going to do?
I think judging from how low it is, we're gonna take kayaks, and I'm gonna bring one with the motor on it. And my dad has a motor, I have a motor. Danny's just gonna have to fend for himself. I don't know how that's gonna go, but I mean, I don't know what we'll end up doing. We probably will do some like point to point floats there, because you can there. It doesn't really matter on the Susquehanna. It's not like you go there and like, it's this little stream. You got to sneak up on stuff. I mean, you can go, all the way across the river and be on completely different type of stuff and not even hardly move. So, but yeah, looks like our guest is here, so we'll bring him on. And then I did ask him how to pronounce his name, so let's hope I don't butcher it with
Let's hope you do.
with the help. So
Let's hope you do
well,
butcher this last name. What's
all
up?
right,
What's going on, guys?
I'm gonna give this a shot. This
Do
is
it.
Dante.
Don't correct.
Hang
Don't
on.
help
I
him.
gotta look at it again. Hang on. Dante Piraino.
There you
Is
go.
that
You got it.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
is that Italian?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Chris, I want to hear Chris's Italian version of this.
I
Let's
don't
go,
do that.
dude.
I don't do that stuff. Okay. I don't.
Piraino.
I don't want to. I don't do that stuff. But with a mustache like that, Josh, you could almost do any accent and get away with it.
That is a mean stash.
It's something. It's something. It's bound to get him locked up eventually. Pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, we have a running joke here where my wife compared me to Andy Reid. She said
Yeah.
your mustache
That's-
is looking like Andy Reid, so I had to trim her up a little bit. So
There's
Everybody
nothing wrong
knows.
with Andy Reid. He might be the
No.
greatest coach of all time.
that's what I
Yeah.
said, dude.
And
Chris
and
hating on it.
I'm
and a
wearing the
prominent
Eagles shirt too.
prominent
Oh,
sex
there you
symbol
go.
too. Andy Reid's one of the most prominent sex symbols in the 21st century, so everybody knows that. The dude exudes confidence and masculinity. So, dude, tell us about what I mean. Okay, first of all, you're kind of like you fish a lot of tournaments. There are probably a lot of people that already know who you are, but tell us why you're in the news lately.
So this past weekend, I fished a New York Bass Nation Federation tournament out of Ogdensburg and weighed best 5 for 31.4 and held in a 9-pound smallmouth, a fish of a lifetime. So it's been a hectic couple of days, but it's pretty unreal.
It's crazy. That's
Freaking
absolutely
sick,
nuts.
dude. We were looking. Hang on, I gotta show.
Yeah,
the
but
picture
throw it up there, dude.
Because I was like,
Jamie,
I was,
throw up the photo.
I was looking for pictures, and there's a few of them out there on your Instagram and stuff. But there's one that stuck out. Like, I was like, this is insane. Look at this fish. Holy shit, dude.
Wild.
Dude, that looks like some taxidermist like got super high and was like, I'm just gonna make the biggest out that I can possibly think of. I'm gonna use a lake trout body, dude, and just put paint it like a smallmouth.
I mean, my
Insane.
God.
Holy shit.
Real.
Yeah.
God.
So pretty wild,
I mean,
dude. Crazy.
That's crazy. And I mean, 31 pounds is pretty crazy too. I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest single angler bags up there, right? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, to my knowledge, I know there's been some team dirt bags that have been over 32 up there, and there's been some crazy bags during the spawn, but during the regular season single, I'm sure there might be a bigger one out there, but I'm not sure. I know there's definitely not many that are over 30, but it was just a magical day, man. It was everything went right, and I gambled, and it paid off. But
Yeah, so
pretty crazy.
you ran like it's 20 miles or something like that to get to your spot. Or no, it was like 70 miles. That's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
our jet boat's a 20-mile run, and our
Yeah.
jet boats is like a 70-mile run. So this is a little different we're dealing
Yeah,
with. But yeah, that's
definitely.
wild.
Yeah,
Dude.
it was an east wind that day, so it was the day before was a little more rough. So it was, I think, close to 80 miles one way, and then got gas when I was done fishing, and then headed back to Ogdensburg. So it's not as far as the run from Messina, but I mean, it's only 30 minutes closer, I guess, to the mouth than Messina is. So it's still makes for a shorter day of fishing, and add in the factor of getting gas and making the run all the way back. So it always is another element whenever you're making a run of that distance.
That's
Dude,
crazy, dude.
It's
crazy to think that you kept fishing after you caught that fish.
Yeah, someone called me earlier and was writing an article, and he was like, "What time did you catch it?" I was like, 9 a.m. He's like, "Why didn't you drive back?" I was like, "I had two 2-pounders in the boat and that one giant." He's like, "You still didn't drive back?" I was like, "No, I mean the point it's like a kind of a points deal, and they take the top 6 guys for the state team, and I was in like 24th, so
you had to get every ounce you could get, brother.
Yeah, and in order to make the state team, I was in like 24th. I needed to be in the top 6 after 3 tournaments, and that was the last one. So I wasn't up there at all. So I literally needed to weigh 30 pounds in order to make it. So it was made for a little stressful
That's
day.
absolutely crazy, dude. Yeah.
And
did
you had 9? Oh, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just gonna ask, like, are you like a regular on the St. Lawrence?
Yeah, that's like my
places
home. I'd call it my home fishery. I've been fishing. I started fishing in college, sophomore year. Fished for Clarkson up in Potsdam. My buddy Ben Seaman got me into the tournament scene, and then fished there for 3 years, and then graduated in 21 and worked a full-time job the last few years, and then I'll just fish tournaments there up on the weekend. Fish a Canadian trail up there called the Bayfuel Tour, and then fished the Toyota Series the last few years up there. Fished some on Oneida. Fished some with my buddy Scott. He owns a tackle shop on Oneida called Lakeside Outfitters. So I've fished some fished a few tournaments with him on Oneida there, and we weighed some big bags there. I think one of them, I don't know if it's the official record on Oneida, but we weighed one over 25 there. That was pretty insane. But
Oh my God, dude. This
yeah, I'd
is
say
yeah.
St. Lawrence.
These are some goofy numbers, dude. These are like straight goofy. So the St. Lawrence, Chris and I were talking before the pod about like because where we live, like we don't really have many smallmouth reservoirs. Like Indiana, we got cornfields and a few rivers with smallmouth in them. So that's why we run jet boats, skinny stuff. St. Lawrence is a river, but like. What would you describe the area you're fishing like? Give us like just the layout of it. Like what's it feel like?
So it was technically caught in the river. It was near the mouth of the river on the U.S. side in Cape Vincent. So essentially, no matter what the wind direction is, the wind does crazy things on the lake. The lake is like I consider it a small ocean. Basically, it's giant, and there's so many fish in it. But the waves the wind, no matter what direction the wind's blowing. I mean, unless it's a straight east, which is like not rare, but it's not often. It's majority like southwest winds, and it wraps around into the mouth of the lake. And then it could be blowing like 30-mile an hour one day, and the next day it could be no wind at all. But it's so big that the waves will build all the way from Buffalo essentially and roll all the way over to Cape Vincent. So it's like there's residual waves for multiple days sometimes. So it's like you could go out there and it says 0 wind, but you get out there and there's like 3-foot rollers where they're not like white capping over, but it's just like ocean waves, or they're just like long, slow rolling waves.
Yeah.
So
The
it was
kind that
like,
make you throw up on the side of the boat. Yeah.
yeah, I got sick for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and it was like blowing 40 out there, and I've gotten sick before in saltwater going out like 20 miles offshore, but I've never gotten sick before on freshwater until a couple weeks ago, and I did the old Corey Johnson from staring at the live scope. So
Yeah, I imagine like staring at a screen while you're like bobbing up and down 3 feet. Like you're probably just like you like lose track of where you're at in space, and it's probably not great.
Yeah, it's big out there. I mean, the biggest waves I saw were 2 or 3 weeks ago now, I think, and it was like you can't see over them. I mean, they were all 8 feet, 8 to 10. Like you're just like a seagull just bobbing over the waves, just in your boat, and you just feel like you're nothing out there compared to how big that water is. So it's like it's a river, but I mean, you get out there in the mouth, and it's just a whole different game. So
yeah. So while we're gonna transition in this, because we have another guy waiting because I want to bring him on. So kind of speak into the river game. This guy actually guides on the St. Lawrence. So I don't know if you heard about this. And Joe can talk about this when you get on. Joe caught the biggest smallmouth ever recorded on the Susquehanna River. And it was like, Joe can talk about this. What's up, Joe? So
what's up?
Joe, maybe I mistakenly saw this, but did you say that you guys caught that around the same hour? Did you say that, or was it just the same day?
I believe it was around the same hour. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What's up, man? How's it going?
I should have watched the whole episode. I just tuned in like 5 minutes ago. But
yeah,
Dante, are you sick of talking about that fish yet?
Getting there, not totally yet, but I mean, it's definitely been a hectic couple of days. I literally just hopped on. I just got home. I had to go out to dinner with some coworkers. So
dude, that thing is you won't get sick of talking about it.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not for a while.
Dude, that is ridiculous. What was the biggest one you saw in person before that?
I caught a 7.2 in July practicing for the TIO, and that was like that one looked old though. I'll pull up a picture of that one. It was like it looked totally different because that one was definitely past its prime.
Yeah.
It was like just looked.
So you go from a 7.2 to a 9.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. I was stuck on 6.5 for a couple years, and then
man. So
what such a terrible problem to
did
have,
that
dude.
thing jump? Did that thing jump or anything?
It tried to, but it couldn't get out of the water. It
Like,
just
what
it
did
was.
you? Did you already talk about all this? Are we going over this? Like,
No,
what
we haven't. We were waiting
No.
to kind of like because I feel like
did
you
you see
guys.
that thing
This is
come up onto the surface? Like, did you see it and realize how big it was?
No, it was like curled up when it came up to the surface, and I was like kind of fighting it like behind the boat, and because I didn't have a co-angler that day, so I had to net it myself. So I just
Oh
was like
my
unstrapping
God.
the net, getting the net out, and then it was just peel and drag. It came up, came down, came up, came down. I just thought it was a 6-pounder, so I was just playing it, like
Oh
letting
my
into
God.
a
And then
stick.
you got it in the net, and then you're like, oh my God, this thing might be bigger than 6.
I got it in the net, and I was like, it's a 6. And then I go to lift the net in the boat with my left hand, and like I'm a righty, so I was like, not my dominant hand. I go to flip it in. I was like, it's got some weight to it. It's got to be 7. And then once I
Oh my
popped it in the boat
God.
and went to fizz it, and once I grabbed the needle and went to go fizz it, I was like, this thing's a giant.
Oh my
This was the
God.
7. Like you can tell, this one just looks
yeah.
more beat up. It's got that big
Yeah.
scar.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
most
So,
of those fish like that, like that are old,
mhm.
they look like they're just past any sort of spawning prime. Like it's like their last couple years in existence. And what's crazy
Yeah,
is like the one that Joe caught looked really pristine too from the pictures. Like it wasn't like super nasty looking from what I saw.
I think
Which
I did
I'm
hear
gonna bring
about it
that
last night on
picture up.
Travis's podcast. He was talking about. I think he hopped on for a second, but I didn't. They were arguing about something, but I didn't get the whole
dude,
gist of
Travis
Yeah.
is something else. Eric calls me, dude. Eric calls me, and I think he's just screwing around. And he's like, dude, you got to get on the podcast. Travis is trashing you right now. He's basically saying, he's calling you out, saying that fish isn't what you said it was. And I'm like, dude, it was weighed in a tournament. Like, he can't be serious. And he's like, I'm telling you, he's throwing a lot of shade your way. So
it.
I don't know. I don't
Dang,
know.
man. Little
That thing's
beef.
got a big
Got some
mouth
beef
on it.
going on.
I mean, dude, this is Travis, though. Travis Manson. Do you guys know Travis?
I
No.
know who he's a smallmouth crush guy, right?
Yeah, he's a character. Travis, if you watch his show, you kind of learn his character. You know what I mean? We're friends, we get along, and I think he probably was just kidding. I
You
think
up
I
until
don't
the
know.
show you got along.
Yeah, no, I didn't go back and see what he said. Maybe I should have. I just never really got around to looking at it. But Travis is cool. He was chirping me saying the fish wasn't 7 pounds or whatever. But dude, that fish was ridiculous. Like I never
Your fish is
saw
giant.
anything
That
like
thing
that in
doesn't even.
person. I mean, that's why I'm asking you about yours because dude, it's like when you see something like that, the one that I caught at least, I think it was because of its length. Like, and when I set the hook on it, it came screaming up out of the water like 15 feet in front of the boat and did a backflip. And like, even a 19-inch fish, when they do that in front of you, they look huge. This thing came up and did it and went back in the water. And I had already lost a couple like key fish earlier that day. And I'm like, dude, this thing's gone. I'm not gonna land this. And I was like, Tom, you get the net. Like this is ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this in my life. This thing's freaking huge. It's like 8 pounds. It just a 2-foot fish flipping out of the water in front of you. I mean, I don't know what to freaking think or say. And I mean, I fought it around for like, I don't know. It was like the longest 60 seconds of my life. It was so stressful because the water's crystal clear up there. I almost think it's clearer than the St. Lawrence. It is so gin freaking clear. You can see, so you see the fish fighting and you just see it digging and digging and digging. And you're like, oh my God, dude, how big is this thing? And I bring it up and it keeps going down. And finally we get it in the net. I'm like, there's no way this is happening right now. Like, there's no freaking way that this is happening. Because I mean, it was with the length and the height of the fish and like comparing it to like other, like a 20-inch fish, like you get used to like seeing something like that and thinking that's really big. And then you see something that's 24 inches and the same scale. I thought it was 8 pounds. I didn't know. This thing is ridiculous. And I mean, we weighed it then. I still like, I'm still all jazzed up about it.
That's awesome, dude.
I don't get sick. I mean, we weighed it and it was 719, which it's hard for me to wrap my head around that. Like, I had never seen a 6-pounder out of the Susquehanna prior to this. Like, that's really what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a 6-pounder in person. You hear stories about guys catching them, and they post pictures every now and then, but I've never actually, and I know guys do catch them. They've been caught, they've been weighed in at tournaments, but I wanted to see one in person, you know what I mean? And to go from to see that fish was just ridiculous. Like, it's hard. I wish I would have kept it. I wish I had it in a tank back here that I could just, but we
Yeah,
did.
those are
Oh.
the. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was going to ask about, well, the 9-pounder, like this is potentially a New York State record. Like, because you weighed it in a tournament, I'm assuming that there's like a certified scale and like that's all kind of on the up and up, and like
Yeah.
that's going to be like a verified state record and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, so I'm working with the DEC right now. I was weighed on the New York Bass Nation certified scale, and it gets, I don't know what the tournament director called me and texted me what he's pulling I need to pull like the ID number for the scale, and then when it was updated, I guess. But I mean, he said it gets updated every year, and they have some technician come out and certify it at the start of every year. So it should go through. I haven't got a chance to answer the DC email back yet, so I got to send them a bunch of stuff. It's just been busy.
Hey, get on that, dude. Don't be. That's not one of those emails you can just sit on.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, that's a record that could be around for quite a long time. I mean, geez, that's something else, dude. That's a moment that you'll never forget for sure.
for sure.
I mean,
sure.
yeah.
I feel like this is like there's something like, because smallmouth, obviously guys catch a lot of big ones, but like these, like, kind of upper and fishing. I would even include Joe's in there, because Joe, a 7-pounder on the Susquehanna is like a 9-pounder in the Great Lakes. Like it's
Probably like a
different.
10-pounder on the Great Lakes, right? Isn't that just so unheard
Yeah,
of? Out
it's a different, because I mean those fish are on a treadmill. Like those fish are in. I mean, at certain times, when those fish are doing, kind of the summer thing, like you could potentially catch that fish in a foot of water.
Yeah.
It's like on the St. Lawrence, that's not probably gonna happen unless they're spawning. It's a pretty rare event. Like they go, fairly deep most of the time. So,
dude,
Go
where
ahead.
I caught that fish, then the bags that win there, like a big bag there is like 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to catch 3-pounders all day. Like, that's, if you see a 3-pounder, it's great. We're like just combing through 12 inchers. That fish, I wouldn't, that's just the last place I would have guessed a fish like that would show up. It didn't make
Yeah.
any sense. It was,
I definitely wouldn't have thought it came off the West Branch. I thought
There's-
for sure that fish would come out of this main stem if I was like a betting man. But
so
yeah.
the thing about that system is those fish migrate around.
Yeah.
That fish, who knows how old it is, but it could have, who knows where it came from. They do migrate around, and there are really big fish in the West Branch, but they are hard as heck to catch. It's like a mini St. Lawrence. It's really, it is a cool place, but I mean, it just doesn't, 5-6 years ago, probably even longer, there was a lot more like 5-pound class fish, I think. I mean, and they still get them. I think maybe the tournament pressure up there, I don't know. There's still big fish, but there's not quite as many of them. It's a cool place to fish out. The West Branch has big ones for sure. It does have big ones, but you could go there and get your butt kicked and think there was nothing there at all. It's just really hard to fish because the water's so clear.
Yeah, and it's not, the main stem is catch and release, and then the West Branch, you can keep fish, which is why they have the live well tournaments up there. So that's another reason. Like, I feel like the main stem, it does get more pressure, especially kayaks. Like, there's obviously more like overall pressure on the main stem, but you can't keep anything. You got to put them back. That's why they're half their faces are ripped off from whopper ploppers and stuff. But
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be big ones out here on the main stem though too. So the next, there was another fish that was caught in 81 by a guy actually, and it was caught in Duncannon. And that one was about the same size. It was, and he held state record with it. It was 7'1", 23 inches long. He has the original skin mount of it. So, I mean, I don't know.
yeah, that's crazy. People skin mount this. I mean,
know, dude,
I don't know.
He caught it on a giant creek chub too. It was in April.
Well,
It was a
that
big,
explains the skin mount.
yeah, he's a cool guy though. I actually know him. I've taken him out on guided trips already. He's his name's Russell Fuller. He held state record with that fish for a number of years.
Dang.
It's a pretty cool thing. It just, caught locally, but nothing has been caught like that since. I mean, you hear stories, but there's just never any like evidence of it. I mean,
yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about this too, Dante. So I saw a post that somebody, I think it was actually the Serious Angler guys that posted this about your story of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but basically you take the fish back to get weighed in the tournament, which is crazy. Not only were both of these fish caught on the same day, they were also caught both during a tournament. It's nuts, like crazy. You take it in, you get it weighed, obviously, for the tournament, and then you were advised to actually kill the fish, like to put it on ice and, to ensure that the state record would hold, to put on ice. And you opted to release it, which is fucking cool as hell that you just did that. Is that story sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't technically advise me to kill it, but they basically said if you want. So I weighed the fish, and then I really wasn't even thinking about the record. didn't even really know what it was. I knew someone caught a giant on Cayuga previously, but I didn't know what it was. And then we weighed it, and it was 9 even. And a couple guys are like, call the DEC, call the DEC. So a few guys got on the phone, and multiple guys are calling them and trying to get someone to come out, a DEC officer to come out and certify it. And DEC said no one can come out today. They're like, no one's working, or they just said no one's coming out today. So you have to put it on ice. I was like, what do you mean put it on ice? Like put it in a bucket and let it swim around in ice? And they're like, no, like you have to kill it and then we'll be there tomorrow. I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to let it go.
Dude, that's kind of pathetic on their end.
Yeah, I don't really know how it all works, but it didn't really make much sense. But I still think that we're going to get it certified. So, but it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. But I mean,
it is big news. Like you'd think that they'd show a little bit of effort, and you know what I mean. What's the big deal?
They were at home.
You'd think that somebody would just want to
go. They couldn't get out there for a state record.
Dude, you would think somebody would just want to get out and see it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That is kind of. I mean, if they don't certify that record over that, that's pretty.
Yeah,
bad.
there's a video.
Pretty bad press.
There's a video of it getting weighed, and I got plenty of pictures and plenty of witnesses that were there. So I think it'll still go through. I just, like I said, I gotta email them back and get on that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though, dude. I mean, that's so cool.
You'll get it. I mean,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you'll get it.
Joe, I've heard you're quite the man down in the Susquehanna. One of my buddies actually fishes down there a lot. His name's Nate Liscombe, and I went to school with him actually up at Clarkson. We actually met playing basketball together, and then we both didn't even know that we both fished for like 2 years. We both just played basketball together and didn't talk about fishing at all. And then I think I was a senior and he was a junior maybe, and then we somehow fishing. I think he saw something about me fishing for Clarkson. And he was like, "Wait, you fish?" And then I've taken him out on the river a few times.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah, it was like a little Star Brothers moment. But he fishes the Susquehanna a lot, and he's from PA, but I've never been there.
His name sounds familiar.
I think his Instagram's Skinny Water Drifter. So he does some photographer or something.
Yeah,
that definitely sounds familiar. Where's he from?
Somewhere in PA. I'll ask him.
I think he's up north, isn't he?
Yeah, I'll find out. But yeah, he always tells me stories about the Susquehanna and how different it is from the river. Because like I'll get him up on the river. And he's just Dude,
it's
this is
so
so much
different.
different. It's like 3 feet of
It's
water and top water all day, and he's from
Dude,
It's
Lewisburg. He
wild,
said
dude. It's
it is
wild.
wild.
Lewisburg.
I fish up there, Lewisburg.
That's what he said. Yeah,
Yeah, he's up on the West Branch. I
Yeah.
mean, he knows.
yeah. He
Yeah.
said
He knows what's
he said
up.
you're a hammer. He said you're a hammer.
I don't know. I mean, dude, I
You're a
spent
hammer, Joe. Don't be modest.
so this is the deal, and this is what I tell people. For how much time I spend on the water, I should be really damn good, and I probably should. I should probably be even better than I am, because I am out on the water like every day. Like right now, it's honestly every day I'm guiding. You got to make hay while the sun shines, and if you can't put people on fish, I mean, there's a problem. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Susquehanna is an awesome freaking fishery. Like it's the fish
You
aren't
need
as
to
big
go,
as what you're
dude.
used to up
You
there in
need
New
to
York.
go.
But dude,
You
the
need
way
to
you
go.
catch them, like I've experienced both now, and the St. Lawrence is freaking awesome. Like knowing the caliber of fish, but dude, it is so hard on you. Like I heard what you were talking about with the rough water and stuff, and I got into that a little bit up there last fall to the point where it scared me. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I don't know how bad it got for you, but dude, I thought I was gonna die. Like I was out there staring at my scope and in my jet boat in like 3 footers, which that's not really that bad. But when you're in a flat bottom jet boat staring at a screen, chasing a fish, and all of a sudden things start to go sideways, dude, I mean, and it started blowing harder and harder. I didn't think I was going to make it back to the ramp, and then I did finally make it back to the ramp, and I didn't think I was going to make it home, dude. Like I couldn't even drive. I was so messed up from it. Like watching that video of Corey Johnson, he is one tough son of a bitch, man. I don't know
Yeah.
how he lost it like that and freaking barfed and then just stood back up and kept fishing, because when it hit me, it wiped me out. Like
Yeah, that's a perfect, like, the footage of Corey out there is like the perfect. I mean, it doesn't even do it justice though, because like
I haven't
when you're
seen
out
this
there,
clip.
it's
Yeah,
crazy. Like,
he's
dude,
literally like bobbing up
he
and
is
down like in like
one
4
tough
footers,
son of
like
a bitch, man.
going up
I
and
mean,
down, and he stops and just blows chunks all over like leans over, just gets right back up and just keeps fishing, dude. It
dude,
was
I
crazy.
don't know how he did that. He is one tough son of a bitch.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
when it
nasty.
hit you, did you work your way through it, or
I was like standing. I had like had my seat up front, and I was just like had one hand down on my. I had one hand down on my knee, and I was still like scoping, but just like staring down. And then I fished most of the day, and then there was a couple of spots where I drove the boat the whole day too, and then I had my buddy Joe like couple stops. I would like have him run the troll motor, and I was just sitting like I couldn't even stand up at some point, and
dude?
then
It was I couldn't. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't drive. Like I was every time I would drive for like 5 or 10 minutes, and it would start to come back, and I'd have to pull over and throw up. Like in every red light I hit, like I'm opening the door and there's traffic, and I'm just losing it. Like I thought I was gonna die. And then, so I ate a salad from a gas station like an hour before this happened.
Well,
So
food
I don't know.
poisoning.
It could have been food poisoning too, and it was a little nasty. So that could have been it, but it messed me up. Like, and I started feeling it come on a couple other times last fall, and I had to leave immediately. Like, I don't want this can't happen
yeah,
again. And with chartering, like I had somebody get sick up there with me like 2 or 3 years ago, and it wasn't even rough. And I remember thinking, this guy is a puss, man. It's not even rough out here. Like, what is the problem? But dude, I ended up having to drop him off on the bank, and
Oh, God.
I felt horrible. As the guy, it was actually, I shouldn't mention any names, but
The
the
puss.
other guy fished. The other guy fished the rest of the time, and it was good, but he couldn't get back on the boat. But then it hit me, and it messes you up. Like, and
Yeah,
if it would like if I would have guys out there, and it's staring at that damn scope that does it to you. I mean, really, it is like when you're staring at that thing and you're bobbing up and down, especially in
yeah,
that flat bottom boat, dude. It gets nasty. Like,
100%. If you can't see land and you're out in the middle bobbing, I had similar little eating story before the night. I didn't eat anything the day before, and then at like 9:30 at night, I ate 4 pieces of pizza and then went to bed. I was like, I'll be full, so I won't have to eat tomorrow. If I just eat 4 pieces of pizza right now, like then I won't be
Oh my
hungry.
God.
So I ate 4 pieces of pizza, and then we're driving over the border that morning. I'm just like burping the whole way in the truck. I'm like, yo, Joe, like, I don't feel good, dude. Like, I was like,
This
I
is
just don't feel good right now. And
not
then
a
I'm just
good idea.
it's blowing like 35 knots, and I'm like, all right, like we're gonna go out there and we'll see what happens. We get there, drop the trolling motor. I caught 2 back to back out of like chasing bait balls, and I was like, it's gonna be a good day. And then
Yeah.
I looked at him, I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, I'm gonna get sick like probably in like 20, 30 minutes. And then I just
Yeah.
kept fishing. I was like yak over the side, and then we had a GoPro rolling in the boat too. So for the not our GoPro, but like if you're in the top 10 for the chip, they put a GoPro in just to like ensure. I don't know. They make a TV series and then they ensure like you don't cheat, obviously. So
Yeah.
we
Do you
we
hear
caught
about a lot of guys getting sick up there though? Like, is that a big thing?
I just not really since that Corey Johnson thing, and like I've spent hours out here and I never got
Yeah.
sick until I think it was just a combination of the things, but I don't hear about it much. But I mean, most people I think will when it's going like the ways that Corey Johnson and most guys aren't gonna go out in that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just and it's if you don't know what you're doing out there, like just driving the boat alone, like it's not hard to sink your boat if you don't know how to operate a boat in big water like that. It's
Right.
definitely not impossible to do. So
That's sick,
Um,
man. I still
I'm
can't
gonna
believe you caught a 9-pounder. Dude, it's so ridiculous. Like,
crazy.
Looking
Yeah.
at the pictures of that thing, it's insane. That thing is
Yes. I'm gonna
wild.
put the picture back up.
Pull up the one of the
Dude,
two.
that's the
like,
first one that I saw, and I was like, "Oh my freaking God, that is insane."
Dude, let's be
Like,
honest. I could jerk off to this picture. Let's just be perfectly honest.
I don't know
I
how I
can
feel about that. I'm not
I
gonna
can sit here
I'm
and
not
stare
gonna
at that
endorse
for a
that
long
one.
time. Man, that is
I'm gonna
ridiculous.
yeah, I'm
There's
not gonna
Dude,
endorse
that
that.
is ridiculous. It's
Yeah, that
so
bit.
freaking absurd. It's insane. How many people were there for that? How many people saw that?
A lot of the guys I think went back because it was like a 2-day. It was 2 separate tournaments, but they were all in the same kind of like trail. So
Yeah.
everyone pretty much that I think most of the guys that didn't, some guys stuck around. There was still like a good crowd of people that were there,
Yeah.
but I think majority got out of there after they weighed.
You
That was
didn't
the
you didn't
last
give people the heads up.
I I mean, I wasn't on my phone all day, obviously, because it was in a tournament. And then I got back. I told my buddy Liam, I was like, I think I pulled out right outside the ramp when I came in, and I was like, "You got him?" He was like, "Yeah." Or he said he got him decent, and then
Dude,
I was like, I got a big one. I
I
don't know.
walked around and told some people, like, you might want to come up here and see this. I'm about to drop a hammer. You didn't tell anybody?
Just my one boy, Liam. I was like, I got a big one. He's like 7. I was like,
Dude, you
it's
dropped the
not.
9-pounder on him. You dropped the 9-pounder on him at a tournament. How many teams were there?
It was 40. I think 48 guys signed up. It was a
Hey, are
boat
you
or
fishing the?
So like 24 boats.
Are you fishing that
no,
one?
it was 48
48
boats.
48 boats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you dropped a hammer on them. I can't believe you didn't go around and spread it and make a crowd. Dude, how many? I mean, when that thing was in the tank like that, like when that picture was taken, you holding it in the tank, was there a bunch of people around? What, like,
Yeah, that picture came after, so I weighed all 5 and then weighed the lunker, and then they wanted to hold it in the tank because we thought DC was gonna come, so we had it in the tank, and that's when once we found out DC wasn't gonna come, we had it in the tank for a while, and then we got more pictures and videos of it just alone in that tank. That's when that one picture of it.
so listen, when you walked up and they said you got one for lunker, what do you say to that?
I didn't know some tournaments you have to mark them with a tag. I didn't know this was my first time fishing this trail, so I didn't know if I had to mark it or not. So I was like getting worried because I didn't have a tag with me. I was like, I didn't. Some trails are like if you don't have it tagged, like they won't let you weigh a lunker. So I was like, didn't have
Yeah.
one. I was just hoping that I didn't need one. But
So what'd you do? Dump them? You dumped them in the basket or dump them in, or did he pull?
so Barb Elliott's like one of our phys care people up in New York, and she checked my fish, and I fizzed them all because I caught them all deep, and I dumped them in the basket, and she was like panning around, and then she saw the one, and she was like, "Oh my gosh!" She's like,
Oh my
"That's an 8 pound."
gosh.
She was like, "How?" She's like, "That's got to be a 7 or an 8," and I was like, "I think that." She's like, "How big is it?" I was like, "I think it's more." And then she was freaking out. She's awesome. She's great at taking care of fish, and she sells a fizz needle. You can get it at Scott's shop at Lakeside, but it's like a little fizz needle with a little plunger in it, and she like makes them and has like a piece of yarn almost like tied to the plunger. So it's like the best fizz needle
Well,
out there.
how deep, like, I mean, how deep must a fish be to fizz? Like, what depth do you look at when you?
Honestly, it's all just yeah, I've fizzed them as shallow as like 5 feet. And it sounds dumb,
Really?
but whether it's because I don't know, like I don't know if it's because they were deep and then they pull up shallow
Dude, those
and then
fish are
you catch
so
them and then you
sensitive.
have to fizz them. But I think it's more of like when you're fighting it, if if it goes way down or if it just gets real tired and like swims deep and then comes back up, swims out deep, comes back up, then like the air bladder is just gonna go. So like I've fizzed them like shallow as 5 feet, like I said, and then as deep as out to caught them up to like
So
60
how
feet.
can you tell they need fizz then? Can you
Just like
see?
roll
You
over.
put them in the live well, and then they'll just go belly up, like they'll just float up to the surface,
Mm.
and then you can just see like they can't right themselves and can't like sit straight up, like they'll just be belly up, and you'll
Dude,
know.
it sucks so bad seeing them do that.
Yeah, when I
We
caught
should
that
carry
one,
one.
I fizzed it right away, and I was like, I was like, I gotta keep this thing alive. So I made sure I fizzed it good, and I put it in the well, and it straightened right out. I was like,
Do you think that messes them up?
fizzing them,
Yeah. I guess if you
fizzing
do
them,
it right.
fizzing them saves them. I think if you poke it too many times, you don't fizz it right. I think they could get stressed getting pricked that many times. But if you don't
Yeah.
fizz them, it messes them up worse because they're literally sitting
Yeah,
there
they're
upside
well,
down.
yeah.
They're like sitting upside down, and it's like they can't do anything. Like
I
if you try
guess,
to,
yeah, I guess I understand it. The question in my head always was, yeah, if you don't fizz it, you know it's gonna die because it's not gonna be able to swim down. But is fizzing it just like fixing it temporarily, and then you're popping its swim bladder? So what happens when it swims back down? Is it gonna freaking start bubbling out the side of it, or you know what I
no,
mean?
yeah, I mean, I'm not a total expert on it, but I mean, I've caught plenty of them and fizzed them, and
Eh,
they swim back
Yeah,
down. I'm sure that they
yeah,
live, but I know like one thing you go under the scale and then prick it, and it's such a small hole, and then if you don't like try to take the scale out, so if you just go under the scale and then prick it, like the scale most of the time
right,
will just
right,
cover up where you
yeah,
fizzed it, but
yeah.
totally
No,
I
fine.
have
it's good
I
that
have
guy.
seen some scientific articles on fizzing, and I think it's like a consensus in the scientific community. Like the biologists, they recommend doing it. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't ever run into that. Probably in the wintertime, I wouldn't. I
yeah,
Yeah,
feel like
I've
we
never
haven't.
I've never fizzed one. So,
yeah.
but I mean, we fish in shallow rivers, so
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to fizz them down here. I mean, I never had to fizz fish until I went up there, and I do it, and I think I do it right, and the fish swims back down. But I always wondered, is
There's
that
a
fish going to be all
thing
right?
Yeah, there's a thing they used to fizz through the mouth, and there used to be like a big fizz needle, and then like I don't just from what my friends say, like someone said there's like a 95% chance of like striking an internal organ if you go through the mouth,
Right.
and they might swim off fine, but then they'll like die close
Bleed out.
to like
Yeah.
nearly after. But so people stopped fizzing through the mouth for the
Yeah.
most part. I'm sure there's still some old school guys that still fizz through the mouth, but it's definitely recommended just to go behind that fin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're a New York native?
Yep, yeah, I'm from Syracuse, New York, in Baldensville.
Okay. Awesome. So
Yep.
you fished like Oneida and everything a lot growing up.
Fish don't not a ton. I mean, I didn't have a boat growing up. Like I bought my first boat like 3 years ago when I got out of school, and
Yeah.
it was an Illinois boat, but I drove to Kentucky and picked it up with my
Yeah.
buddy Ethan. I barely knew him, and he volunteered. I didn't even have a vehicle to tow. He was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, just hop in my truck. We'll go down and grab it." So we rolled down overnight, like because we were both working full-time jobs. So we just ripped down Friday night, slept in. I was like, I'm going to Kentucky. I don't need any warm clothes. I just brought like a shorts and a t-shirt, and then we're sleeping in the truck, and it was like 35 degrees.
Yeah.
Like I'm sleeping in the truck, and every like 20 minutes I'm turning the truck on, getting the heat going, and then the heat would just like go escape right out.
Yeah.
So I had like a hoodie I was just using as like a blanket. We slept for like 3 hours in front of the guy's house, and then
Damn.
pick the boat up.
3 years ago, and now you're dropping 9-pounders on them already.
It's
What
crazy.
Quick, dude.
what screen do you have in the front of the boat?
Just a Garmin 126 EcoMap, just the Ultra 1.
Yeah,
The
that's
old,
all it
the old
takes.
standard, the old standard Bass Pro on sale for 2 years. But my buddies and I run a boat rigging business called Deep River Technology. So we're a
Oh,
Garmin
nice.
dealer,
Yeah,
Minnesota, Lowrance, and Powerhouse Lithium, all sorts of stuff. So
awesome.
got into that this year too. So that's been pretty cool running that.
Are you staying pretty busy?
Yeah, we got a decent work from Oneida. People coming up. We rent a shop out of Clayton, so we've had a fair share.
Yeah,
It picked up quick, so
that's
there's not a lot
great.
of there's not a lot of other places to bring your boat to get it rigged. So we had a
Make sure you talk about all that a lot during this. You'll get
yeah,
even busier.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely trying to promote it as much
that's a
as
good
I can.
idea. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a super good idea. And there are lots
yeah.
of
Yeah,
people who want to get into that, and they just don't really know how to
I mean
rig it up and get it
that's a
going.
niche right there, big time. If you're good and you know what you're doing, you do good work, and you understand the electronics and everything like that, and you can get guys set up.
yep.
There's definitely a need for that. You'll
Oh,
do
you're
great
wearing
with
one of
all
your
of that.
hats.
Yes,
That's one
sir.
of your hats there.
That's a
DRT.
cool name too. That's a neat,
Yeah,
especially given the fact that the St.
that's
Lawrence
neat.
is right there. So
You
I
said
yeah,
you
appreciate that.
graduated what year?
2021.
So you're young.
Yeah, I'm
well, young
25.
buck.
Yeah, I just turned 25 in May.
That's
So
awesome,
I'm just
man.
getting my feet wet into it still. I mean, my grandfather got me into fishing at a young age, but I mean, we just
Yeah.
dragged for walleye deep in like 70 feet. I never really started bass fishing until sophomore
Have
year,
you
like I said.
have you fished for the muskies at all up there on the St. Lawrence?
That's one thing on my list. I might have hooked one before. I've never like targeted them.
Yeah.
I'd love to
Do you
though.
ever see them on your scope up there when you're around?
I've definitely seen a couple on scope, and the one that I got closest to was last year, 2 years ago. There was a spawning tournament, and like I'm not a fan of fishing the spawn. I do everything I can to not fish it. Like this year, I didn't even put the boat in the water during the spawn at all. But I
Yeah.
was flogging. I was flogging on the shoal, and it's like a known musky area, and I'm just like I was laying down on my stomach for like 2 hours with my hand on the trolling motor pedal, just like on 10, just flying through water. I'm just looking down through the cone, and a muskie just swam. Didn't look at the cone; it just swam right under the lens, and I about fell in.
No
Like I was,
way. Was
it
it
was
one
like
of those
all
super tank? Was it a super
yeah,
tanker?
it was all a 50. I don't even know what super tanker is up there because there's just giants, but like
Dude,
it was huge.
the biggest ones in the world are right there where you're at, but they're so hard to access. And I don't think there's near as many of them as there used to be. I mean, you've seen those ones in Thousand Islands Tackle Shop, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Dude, those are ridiculous. Like those are the biggest muskies in the world, and they're up there.
yeah. It's crazy. It's nuts. Like I caught a bass last year from like 40 feet that came up and it spit out like a tiny baby muskie. It could have been a pike, but I'm pretty sure it was a muskie, and it
That's
was a
good
baby.
though.
But
At
it was
least
like
they're reproducing.
it's crazy. It's just like that whole ecosystem. Like those people say how like fierce smallmouth are, but it's like it's eat or be eaten. Like they're
Yeah.
muskier out to get them. Like it's
Dude,
just like
there's
nasty.
muskies up there. You can be fighting. There's muskies up there that you'll have like a 5-pounder on, like a big
Mhm.
fish that you're excited to get a hold of, and those things will come up and T-bone a
Chomp it.
5-pounder beside the boat and
That's what I was getting at.
and
Yeah.
dude, make it disappear. Like,
Mhm.
and it's gone. And you're like, dude, what the hell just happened? How are those things in here? How is the fish
Shark,
that big?
dude.
It's ridiculous. I don't think there's as many of them as there used to be, but there is some freaking the bass up there exciting, but I think the muskies up there in that Thousand Island stretch intrigue me more than anything because there are like legit 60 inches with like 30-inch girth, like
Yeah,
60
they're
pounders.
monsters. I'd love to try
There's
to target them someday. I just gotta get
Yeah.
but yeah,
Dude, as
they're
you're up there
insane.
fishing, listen, as you're up there fishing for bass and you see those things, I mean, you're smart enough, make a mental note because they'll probably hang around there and you can go back. And if
Yeah,
you go
for
back
sure.
in the fall, you probably will be able to catch them, but they are few and far between. And then as you start to find them, and if you understand the way the river works and the way that the fish are relating to stuff because of whatever the structure, then you can start to pattern them, and
Yeah.
it might start. It might it may consume you.
Yeah, for sure. We rigged someone's boat, a big musky guide up there. I'm blanking on his name. I could look it up, but yeah, there's one of my cousin's husband. He musky. He kind of got out of it recently, but he used to musky fish hard, and it's like
Yeah.
it's a whole different game. But I'd definitely love to get my hands on one of them giants because they're
Yeah, I mean, you
a whole
got the New
different.
York State record smallmouth now, and I mean, dude, as you're up there freaking, fishing for bass and scoping around, mark them things. I mean, do you see
Sure.
a lot of sturgeon there?
I fished. There was a couple Canadian tournaments below the dam in
Yeah,
Cornwall.
yeah,
And there's more sturgeon there, like you wouldn't
yeah, I
believe,
know.
like
So they
jumping out of the
mentioned,
water, like dolphins, just like school, like they're not schooling, but they all jump out of the water like crazy. My buddy
yeah,
actually caught both tournaments we fished out of there. He hooked one on a Ned rig by accident, and like we didn't.
yeah.
We might have a video of it, but we didn't like obviously get it in the boat or
Took
anything.
him for a ride.
Dude, when I go up there and
Dude,
guide, they mentioned that I guide up there on the St. Lawrence. That's where I guide out of, is below that dam.
yeah, I'm sure you've seen your fair share of
Dude,
them down there. They're
sturgeon, dude,
insane.
it's insane how many are there. There's
Yeah,
wads of those things where there's hundreds of them, and they're super
yeah,
tanker. Like,
crazy. They'll
it's
tow your
funny.
boat
Guys go
around.
up there, dude. Guys go up there trying to catch the muskies up there, and they end up chasing those damn sturgeon around. Like, we'll be fishing for bass or whatever, and the muskie guys will be out. They'll be out like in the middle of a bay or whatever, and I know that there's sturgeon in there because I probably fell for the same thing. I fell for it too. But they'll
Right.
just be casting and casting and casting at those sturgeon because they look the same on the scope. And that's why
Sure.
I wondered if you saw them up there closer to the mouth. I never noticed them there, but yeah, below that dam, there are so many of them.
Yeah.
What do you think of that stretch down there?
It's different, dude.
It's
It's
hard.
like
It's tough, isn't it?
it's tough. I found like bass wise, like there's a lot of small fish. Like there's definitely giant smallmouth too. Like spring and the fall, like it shows out for sure. And the guys we fish against, there's a handful that are from there, and they crush them. I think definitely some guys fish shallow, some guys fish deep, but
Yeah.
I figured out a little deal there. Last year we caught them decent. This year we caught a few big ones, but like it's without a few days there. Like I just rolled up this year. I didn't practice at all. I just showed up and just went to dragon. But the amount of current through it's just different from Messina to Clayton. Like that whole
Dude, I
stretch.
heard
Like
what you were talking about with Polly's gut last night. That
yeah,
that
that
is
was
insane.
sketchy.
Dude, that thing there, I've never seen anything like that. That
Mm-mm,
thing is like it rips like 11 miles an hour through there. And it's probably, dude, I bet it's 250,000 cubic feet per second of water that's going through it. And
all
it's
day,
just freaking soaring.
dude. It's
The amount
crazy.
of the volume of water going through that thing is ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. It's crazy.
I'd rather be out in Lake Ontario in 8 footers than be in Pies Gut and like have a chance of like your boat failing or like Chomler go out or whatever, and like you're somehow getting washed into that because it's just
Dude,
like it, it's I don't
we've
even know how to describe it. Like on the
dude,
map, it like has some like whirlwind logos, and I was looking at it, I'm like, what is this? Like I've never seen this logo on the map before. And then I was driving up to it. I was like, "Oh, that's what that is. It's just rapids, and it's like Joe said, it's just so much water just humming
So is
through.
it deep then? Is
dude,
it
it's like 40 feet deep and I don't know, 400 yards wide. It's
and it's going
40
11
feet
miles
deep
an hour?
and
Dude,
it's
Holy
ripping,
legit
shit.
11. Like, if you
dude. It
fall in, I
is,
don't think you're getting out of there.
dude. It is ridiculous and it looks like there should be fish everywhere. There's giant current seams, like everything looks perfect. And
Mhm.
I mean, there's a few fish, but it's not. Man, that place has got that place. I think a lot of fish get kept up there. I think
Yeah,
that's what's going on because
definitely.
there's so much. It's changed a lot since I started going up there.
Mhm.
There's
Hmm.
a lot. It's sad to see it, man. Like, oh man, if they could make that like somehow do it catch and release, or I don't know how you even do it, but It's easy to read the water up there, and it's kind of, you can visually see where the fish should be, but I think they easily get picked off, and a lot of them get kept.
Definitely a lot of live bait
So,
getting dropped down there.
so speaking to current, where you caught that fish, Dante, is there like, I know there's current everywhere, probably even in the lake, but
Yeah, there's
what,
definitely like
like when you throw a bottom bait, like how far do you have to lead it to get it to swing down and like hit the
yeah,
bottom?
that's definitely good. It all depends like where you're at, how much current, obviously how deep you are, but and like how fast the wind's blowing. Cause like in the lake, there's definitely current. Like if you go onto a buoy, like you'll see like it's not just sitting there still. Like at some places there's more current than others. But if I'm in like 30 feet and I want my bait to get down there and I'm in, I don't know, like a mile and a half of current, you'll have to throw out like depending on how heavy of a weight you're using, you got to at least throw out to 60 if you wanted to get down there at 30, depending on how much current you are, how much deep you're in. Because it's like every spot's different. But like once you're there, and once you flip out once, you can kind of see how much your bait pendulums, and then you'll know. But it's like it's not. Well, you see one in 40. I'm just gonna flip my bait 40 feet. Your bait's gonna be behind your boat by the time it gets down there. In
Yeah,
some areas, some
yeah,
that's flat, you might be okay. If you're shallow, like you're probably gonna be fine. But if you're in any deeper than, I don't know, 25, like you're going to have to lead it at least 20, 30 feet past it for it to get down there. And that's one of the most important things, I think, when you're scoping them that deep in that current.
yeah. If you're scoping them for sure. And we got to wrap this up. Really like good episode. A lot of good
Yeah,
stuff
it
here,
was great.
but the one thing I did want to ask both of you guys, and I know there's talking about different parts of St. Lawrence, but like for someone that's never been there, like if Chris and I were like, we're showing up day one and we're just like, let's go catch some fish. What, like, is there an opportunity to catch stuff that's visual, or is it all like, dude, you better know electronics or you're fucked? Like, what can you catch fish like going on islands and stuff like that, or
Oh,
fishing
yeah.
just drops? Okay.
Yeah. You could, I mean, dude, you could show up there and fish buoys all day and literally fish buoy chains and you could put your bait in front of 25 pounds for sure. And you could weigh 20 pounds just fishing buoys alone. But I mean, you can roll up islands, the head of islands, backside of islands, shoals. You can visually roll up and absolutely smoke them. I'd say the biggest thing is like what the weather's doing, the wind. If it's
Yeah.
like, if it's sunny and flat, you get up shallow, you could go sight fish them. But if it's like pouring rain and blowing 30, like you don't want to be up shallow. You just go, I'd go drift around and go find somewhere calm and just go find some current and just go drift if you want to catch numbers. It's like if you want to catch a giant and go all day and get 3-4 bites, like go out to the mouth, go out to the lake and go tough it out if you want to like catch an absolute giant. But if you want to just go catch a handful of 3 to 5 pounders and run into an occasional giant, then I'd just go
I
go
could deal
tag
with that. Just a few
Mhm.
fives, be no big deal. Yeah, because we've been talking about doing a trip up there, and I mean, Joe's gonna not like this. We don't typically take out guides because we kind of like to just go explore for ourselves and like figure it out. Like if I was just going to have fun, a guide would be the way to go. I'd like to go like kind of figure it out myself and like just for the satisfaction
Dude,
of
I
being
don't
like,
have any
hey, I went here.
I don't have any
Yeah,
problem with that. Not at all.
yeah. I mean,
I
there's
would
a
do the
lot of
same
people that
thing.
yeah,
And
there's a lot of people that like guides. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
yeah,
our sort of thing. Unless it's and I say it for smallmouth. Like if I'm going, well, even like red fishing, I go out without a guide and I just want to I just want to figure it out. Because I think when you put things together yourself, there's like a lot of satisfaction in that. And
definitely.
yeah, like if I went out with a guide, obviously I have a lot better
I,
like
I
head
think
start.
I think you'd go up there and you'd fish for a couple days, and all of a sudden you'd be like, dude, I need to go out here with a guide. I don't think,
Yeah.
and I'm not even saying that I'm the guide that you should go out with. I'm probably not. There's really good guys up there. That place. I think that place is harder to fish than I think it's a tough place to fish.
It is.
It's not roll up and just start whacking them everywhere.
Oh, I
mean, you
wouldn't
could
expect that. Yeah, I mean that's the Susquehanna. That's
the,
not.
the
That's I
that
know it's
place
different than
is
that for
it's
sure.
so cool, but the tour I fishing tournaments is a lot of fun. I enjoy doing it, but I think the amount of fish that get moved around up there in tournaments definitely does affect the numbers of fish that you would be catching. Like
Hmm.
because everybody's doing exactly what he just said, like rolling up the shoals and rolling up the, buoy chain, the channel markers and stuff like that. And they are doing that. And a lot of fish are getting moved around, but you still will catch them, right? I mean,
Mm.
but you're not just going to roll up and start drifting and catch 40 fish on a drift, right?
You used to probably be able to, but like every year, like you said, with the more tournaments, more people coming up here, like it's getting tougher and tougher every year.
Yeah.
And like I don't every last 3 years, I don't think I've weighed a fish off a place I fished the year previously. It's like,
Yeah.
especially if there's
Hmm.
people around and people are watching you, or you got a cameraman on you, or whatever the case is. Like,
Dude,
They're
I think
going to
yes,
it's,
that spot.
that's
I think
better.
it's a beautiful place and it's freaking awesome. And the fish are huge up there, but the bass fishing is, I just think a lot of fish get moved around. That's that early. Do you go out there during the early season?
I've been out. I go out for like a week around Mother's Day. I went out this past year. I went out and perch fished with my grandfather and actually got a nice note on my truck in April when the water temp was 42 and it was legal. Like
Yeah.
Canadian season's open like all year until they close it from like May 15th to July 1st for the spawn, which is like I think which is what New York should do. But um, New York opens it during the spawn. So I went out in the early season and went put like 50 perch in the box. And I get back to the ramp in Messina and someone left a note on the truck and they're like, yo, brah, the reason why we have great bass fishing up here is because the season is closed during the spawn. You are being watched. Don't try to tell us you're pan fishing. And then like made some stupid threat. And I was like, I literally I got 50 perch in my live well right now. I just took my 80-year-old grandfather out to go catch perch. Like B, Canada's open. So if I wanted to go to Canada and go catch 100 bass, like I legally could catch and
Yeah.
release. And
Yeah.
see, the water temp was 42 and it was in April
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not
and they're
spawning.
not spawning.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're the healthiest that they've been all year right there. Like the water's cold, like they're fierce. Like
Yeah.
so there's but I mean,
Yeah.
I
You
don't know.
do
They
gotta,
gotta
People
just
are dumb, dude. They got to
yeah.
get their nose in there. Everybody's got to say something.
It's
Um,
like
you
what?
gotta be careful up there though. There's North Country folk.
Yeah.
yeah, for
You-
sure. Uh,
I,
yeah.
I would, I would, I would definitely be nervous about. I'd be nervous about it.
I mean, it's all because I just had a skeeter trailer in the parking lot. I was like, if I'm going,
Yeah.
like, I walleye fish all the time too. Like I catch plenty of eyes and
Just
perch.
paint over it, put a low sticker on top of it, and dude, be like, I got my deep V out here.
But yeah, I
Well,
mean, you guys could go up there. I mean, go up there and try it. And I'd try and help you out as much as I can. And you guys should go up there and try and fish. You guys
You'd
should,
have a good
schedule
time.
a week and go up there and do it.
well, we're going to. Yeah, Dworshak and St. Lawrence are on our.
Yep.
They're very
Short
in
list.
our near future. So,
If
yeah,
you
for
can
sure.
somehow plan it around the weather, do it. Because like I know one of my
Yeah,
buddies got a tackle shop. He's got a buddy from Texas that came out this week and it was like, I just looked at the wind. And he was like, what should he do? I was like, it was like 30 knots out of the south, and I'm like,
don't
hide
go.
from, hide from that wind. I mean, just go in the river. You're not gonna be going out in the middle of the lake in that. So,
what
if you
boat would you
can,
guys take up?
I don't know. We were actually talking about getting because we both have jets. Chris is talking about maybe getting a lake boat. So because we're only 4 hours from St. Clair too, so it's a
Yeah.
place we really want
Yeah.
to start going more. So
Yeah, that's what a lake boat would be great up there. That's
yeah, for sure. Well, I think we're gonna cut it just because
Yep.
we're at like over an hour and a half. But appreciate both of you guys
Great
coming
episode.
on.
Yes, thank you guys.
That's congratulations to both of you. Honestly, like both caught,
Yep.
fish that honestly don't just like it's not just like, oh, I caught my personal best. These are fish that they will create legends for a long time. both of you guys will. These pictures that you've taken this past weekend will be passed around for a long time, and people will talk about these fish. So, we can. I mean, dude, freaking amazing! Like, pretty cool.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Pretty
Thanks, guys.
cool.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate
Appreciate
it,
you
man.
guys coming on. Thank
It
you
is
very
pretty-
much.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That is you're gonna hold on to that one for a while.
Thanks, man.
I
I
say
appreciate
that.
it. Congrats to
Dude.
you, man.
Yeah, I say that, but at the same time, that place, dude, Erie cranked out a 10.
There's a 10
Like,
pound
you
out
don't know. That place is so big, and you have no idea how big a fish could be in that place.
Gotta be.
There could be, right? I mean,
Gotta be a 10 out there.
there's got to be 10s or 11s or, dude.
Well, when you
guys
catch him,
see-
when you catch him, we'll have to have you on again. So,
But dude, a
Yeah.
9 is ridiculous, and I couldn't imagine seeing that thing in person. I mean, that
Especially as young as you are,
I don't
dude.
mean to
That's
like take away from that at all, but like,
yeah.
No, I
wait
appreciate
until
it,
you
man.
see when you guys go up there. Wait until you see how big it is, and then your mind starts.
Oh,
wondering.
I have no doubt that it's going to be mind blowing. And I did want to mention too, both of these fish surpassed the 23-inch mark, which is kind of our thing. 20 Quest for 23. We started that, and I'm going to make sure both of you guys get a hat, so you guys
Nice.
can support some Quest for
thanks,
23
man.
stuff.
I'd
So
love
Sure.
to, man. Thank you.
So
Sure.
yeah,
Good
we
deal.
appreciate you guys coming on, and
Yeah.
every time we have a guest on, we have a sign off. You guys say "Free the Fighter," which I think you will both understand what that means. So if we could get a "Free the Fighter" from both of you, we'd appreciate it. So
Free the
give us
fighter.
"Free the Fighter." Awesome,
Free the
Joe.
fighter.
You
What
got
are
it,
you
baby.
saying?
Free the fighter, baby. Free the fighter.
Free the fighter.
Yes, sir.
Free the
All
fighter.
right.
Free
All
the
right. Take
fighter.
it easy, guys.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
yeah,
I
have a
appreciate
good
Thanks
it.
for
night.
having us, man.
See ya.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Congratulations on that fish, dude.
Congrats to you,
awesome.
man. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Have a good one, guys.
All right,
Later, guys.
Later.
Dude.
Nice talking to you both.
Yep, you too.
Hey.